Welcome back, everyone. And Jake, I mean Ian, I mean Jake. Jake, I mean Ian. How's everyone doing out there in the wonderful YouTube world? I hope everybody's doing well tonight in chat. So quick before we get yeah. I'm not sure how many people are watching. Right, 3 people, something like that. You're right there, Chris. You lost your mic.
the prep things that Chris forgets to do until the last minute. Welcome to the Will Reads.
welcome. Yeah. So we have no Ian tonight. He had to emergency drive down to North Carolina for Army stuff. So he might be popping in. He said he might. So I'm going to go ahead and if he pops in, he pops in. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But might be driving, so we'll see. But we'll just run with it. We'll still have a good show. Jake's playing the part of Ian tonight, so Jake's usually behind the scenes. He's actually on every single video behind the scenes, kind of producing our viewing. I don't know, whatever you call it. Playing the GIFs, put up the banners, things like that, so I can focus on reading notes and not have to worry about all that stuff. But now he has to do both. So, so as far as announcements, no new patrons. We do have a ton of giveaways going on right now, though. So go check out all the socials. I think we have one run on everything. So there's like 5 giveaways going on somewhere. So you can win all sorts of things. There's books, there's t-shirts, there's I think there's even Frosty mug somewhere out there. So it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Discord, lots of places. So go look for them. It's like a scavenger hunt. You can enter to win. So that's it for the giveaways. As far as next week goes, we do have a guest coming on as well. So Ian will be back. He has confirmed that and he is free, but we do have one guest and it's going to be Jen from Goldie Thoughts.
That is.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be fun. Jen's been in the Wheel of Time community for quite some time. She's been on other podcasts previously, and then started her own thing where she does a lot of Twitch streaming, does a lot of gaming, but a big Wheel of Time fan. So it will be a good time to have Jen on with us. Look forward to it. So, yeah. So that's next week. And then after that, have a few other guests lined up, but they're not 100% confirmed. So we are still trading dates and trying to figure all that out. So I'll announce those when those come. So
sounds good.
that's all I got for right now. Also want to give a big shout out to our Bellas, David and Remy. Thank you guys so much for being Bellas. Yeah. We don't have to play the Bella track. But yeah, I just wanted to we haven't given a shout out in a while, and I realized I've been dropping the ball on that. I meant to shout them out like every episode, but like tend to forget unless I write it down, and I am the most forgetful person in the world. So that's why I have spreadsheets to remind me of everything, and I just have been bad. So, yeah, guys, we'll get you guys back on sometime soon. That's definitely in the cards. I think we're going to do a Bella episode where we get David and Remy on at the same time. So I'm trying to coordinate dates and figure out when that would be. So it'd probably be a very long episode.
We're going to have to move that one to a Friday night so Chris can
on a Friday night. Okay, we'll look into that. So that's all I got right now for an announcement. So personal life, gearing up to go on vacation. I have this week left, and then we have Independence Day on next Monday for us in America, which means I'm off work. And then that Friday, I start vacation for the whole next week at the beach. So basically, I work 3 days next week and vacation. So we're getting ready for all that stuff. And then we just finalized our other vacation today that I thought I wasn't going to be able to go to. We ended up being able to switch dates. So that's going to be at the end of this month. So, or end of next month. I'm already in July, guys. So July 31st, I think, is when we start our next vacation. I come back like the day before we do the Dark Friend Social at my house. So it's going to be like get back, immediately turn around, prep, and go. And not know what's going on as far as work goes for like the entire month of July and August. So that's my personal life right now, is getting ready, preparing myself for the crap show that I'm putting myself into.
Yeah. I had the rest of the year to recover.
Exactly. That's the idea. Yeah. Just let it all go to fire, and then pick the pieces.
Well, Ian, how's your week?
My week's been pretty good, Chris. How about you? You go ahead.
Oh, we are really actually wrapping up the wedding planning stuff. Like we have our food tasting tomorrow, so we get to figure out what delicious bits and morsels we'll be providing. It's gonna be good. Like I saw the menu, but I want to taste the menu, so now I get to taste it. But there will be plenty of food and lots of adult drinks because
Nice.
we have a freaking open bar.
You got
Which,
to.
Nice.
yeah, I don't think they know. I'm like, yeah, my family doesn't drink, but my friends, we might not want to do the open bar thing. And the place we're going is like, no, you got two options: open or none. We're like, well,
Open it is.
open
Did
it
you
is.
do just beer and wine, or is it full open liquor and everything?
Full open.
Oh
Everything.
wow, everything.
Yeah,
all out.
All the things.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to behave.
You'll be in good company. There's at least 7 or 8 of us that'll just be like enjoying ourselves thoroughly, and then the rest will be in silent judgment, and we won't care. But
sounds about right. Yeah, it's the wedding season coming up. We got your wedding. I have another friend of mine from high school that's getting married. We're going to their wedding, and then I have one of my other good buddies. We got invited to the engagement party, bachelor party, and wedding. Or at least, I got invited to the bachelor party. My wife did it, but wife and I are going to the engagement party and the wedding. So we got 3 weddings coming up this fall. So it's going to be like back to back.
Yeah, he won't catch up on his work.
Nope. And then my wife's family decided to take another beach week in October. So it butts up to your wedding, and so we'll already be in North Carolina. So my wife's family's going to take the kids back, and then we're just going to drive down to Charlotte.
Oh man, that's cool.
So yeah, I'm really not going to get any work done over this year. All my work's done for the year. I'm just taking the rest of the year off.
Yeah.
But no, other than that, it's been pretty smooth. We were in Virginia this past weekend for Chanel's boudoir shoot.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like we snuck in. We stayed with a couple of friends up in Richmond, wanted to see Ian, but the boudoir shoot took a whole lot longer because the photographer was like, I'm really into this. And 2 hours later, longer than what it was supposed to be, she's like, all right, we're done. So, she's a friend and she's giving us a heck of a friend deal. So, she's getting to use all these on her website and so on and so forth.
Be careful that during the wedding, though. That happened to us at our wedding. With our photographer, like Happy wanted to, because we got married in downtown Norfolk, and Happy wanted to do like some city shots, like around the city. So like during the middle of the reception, like we snuck out after dinner when everybody else was partying and drinking, and went to do some night shots. So the photographer got really into it. We came back and like everybody assumed that we already left because we were gone for so long.
Oh.
So like the party had completely died down. We're like, yeah, no, we're ready to party, and like no one's here. This was a bad idea.
No, that cocktail hour gives her the 45 minutes she needs to finish the photos from the day.
Yeah.
And we're literally, so the cocktail hour is in the courtyard of the field that we're getting married in. So it's like married, everybody turns around, walks to the courtyard / open portion of the ballroom, and has their heavy hors d'oeuvres and drinks. And then 50 minutes later, we all pile into the reception hall.
Do some dancing.
Yeah, y'all can for sure.
Okay.
That's the side of me that, no offense to anybody, but the white side definitely comes out.
All right, that's okay. We'll make sure you get enough drinks in you.
Zero rhythm. Yes, liquid courage always gets me out there. And
we'll get you out there.
Crazy stuff.
We'll get you out there.
Anyway, so
sounds good.
Excited to get to these chapters because there's better stuff beyond them.
Oh, give us a Mistborn update. I want a Mistborn update. Where are you?
Oh my goodness. Okay, Mistborn. So I'll tell you, I have
no spoilers. Just like kind of like feels.
Okay. Mistborn. I'm on chapter 24 of The Final Empire. So I am working my way out. I'm listening to it. So I have 7 hours left to listen to. And I don't know, did I talk about the last time? I'm really enjoying the way the magic works, and then finding out that the the components that are used in the magic
Mm-hmm.
can be used different way for different peoples.
Mm-hmm.
The random moments at the end of each chapter are quite interesting, and I'm trying to figure out where they're coming from. I think it's coming from a certain somebody's journal,
Okay.
but it's not really talked about.
Okay.
I have a feeling that, huh?
Raffo.
I don't need that for 2 books. I feel like our main female character,
Ven, you can say Nick.
okay,
Yeah,
Ven, is more
yeah.
than meets the eye. I think she has a direct correlation to our main antagonist, actually. I don't think she
Okay.
really knows who her father is. So I'll say that part, and then people can really get a feel. And I just think it's dope the way the world's kind of building around her. But then there's so much of the other people slowly being introduced.
Right.
And how as a kid she didn't really think about these people and their lives outside of the objective that they have. And now, and where I'm at in the book, she's starting to learn about these people.
Right. So who's your favorite tertiary character? Like not your main characters, and why is it Breeze?
You know what? I love Breeze, but you know what? Ham is actually calling me a lot.
Ham's good.
Ham, my boy Ham.
Like Ham is the bomb. Like Breeze is the best because he's Breeze and he's just kind of bring me a drink. Just sits back.
Are you forcing me to do this? Maybe.
Maybe not. Just bring me the damn drink. But I mean, I definitely would love for people to pick up Mistborn and give it a shot if they haven't already. And at some point in time, we'll have to sit back on a Saturday night and kind of pick through it a little bit because I mean, it's not a hard read.
No.
But I feel like there's probably a little bit more depth that we're going to get into really quickly. I mean, you're already seeing the mobility into classes and the class clashes, a little bit of Marxism. Like there's some stuff in there that just makes you think stuff's going to hit the fan really hard. And when it does, the whole world's going to collapse because it's built on the belief in a man that's turned himself into a god, which I want to know how that happened. Like that, I'm like, what did he do? How did he get there? Because he clearly, like, he's a benevolent figure, but you know, we're at a point where we're actually getting more insight on him, and he was super insecure. So I'm like, how do you go from that to this in this small span of time? Anyway.
Yep. We'll have to do a video. Maybe we'll get together and like do like a little live stream where after you finish the book.
We can get Chris in the Mistborn section of the Discord.
Oh yeah, we do have a Mistborn section on Discord.
I didn't know that.
You get to click on the Cosmere role.
I'll be honest with you, I do not. I don't even know how to do that, guys.
I'll add the role for you.
There we go.
We'll get you taken care of. So good deal. All right. Yeah. Anything else before we jump in? I mean, Jake, anything you want to
add? No.
Okay. Cool.
I'm good. Thank you.
Let's go jump right in then.
There's this whole world in the mist on the Discord that I just don't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole world on whole section on Cosmere.
I've been too afraid to venture out.
Mistborn, Stormlight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So let's move right into chapter 7. Back to Wheel of Time. A matter of thought. In the Teragriel for the Dream Ring, the Twisted Dream Ring is our chapter symbol. Because we're going back to Teleronriad. Teleronriad. We're going to sleep. We're taking naps. Naps are always fun. Yeah. So
I've seen that chapter icon so many times, and I still can't visualize a 3D version of it though. It just
I'm right there with you.
It warps my brain.
It's like an MC Escher painting. You know, it just doesn't make sense. So Elaine and Nynaeve are sitting in a room in Salidar, and they're getting ready to go to Teleronriad, and they're talking about it. And they don't actually have the original ring because they've given it to Swan and Leanna, but they have some of Elaine's copies that she's made, and she's gotten pretty good at it, a lot better than she was at first. They're still not perfect, but definitely better than the ones they were using before. And some of the other Aes Sedai are using those other ones where they come in kind of foggy. But the whole reason why they're going is to teach the Aes Sedai about the world of dreams. And they're complaining about this because they pretty much, this is like a chore for them, and they don't really want to do this because it annoys them.
Well, I mean, you have 6 condescending people that you're trying to teach, telling you that you don't do a good enough job of teaching when they don't understand what it is they're trying to learn.
And not listening to you.
And not listening to you. That's the life of every teacher, by the way. So they are just living the dream or the nightmare, whichever you think it is. But I do want to recognize Elaine for the skill that she's developed pretty much on her own. Like, there's no conversation about anybody else being able to do this or completely understanding how she's doing it. We know that the other Aes Sedai are like pushing her to teach them how she's figuring this stuff out, but she is literally the only one sitting here making these copies. And then she's even gone as far as like inventing new to her to Angreal. So I would love to see where they come into play a little bit more. And in my mind, as I was listening to this, I was like, so why aren't her copies working as well as the originals? And then they kind of venture into the idea of colors. So in my mind, I'm like, what is she using to create these rings? Is there a physical component? And if there is a physical component, is she not using the right ores? Or, you know, it could be iron versus copper versus gold versus and this might be a little bit of blending in from my new book ventures, but at the same time, I'm like, why would the rings be different colors other than either heating a specific metal or to a certain degree or something like that, or combining different ones because they have different elemental factors.
And that's
No, go ahead.
So that's true historically, like as far as using different colors and trying to use different dyes. I mean, we take it for granted that we can make almost any color in the rainbow and beyond, because we have technology now that we can dye things whatever color we want. But you go back to like the medieval ages and things like that. The reason why the color purple was so expensive is because they didn't have a way of making purple except by using crushed like shellfish and getting the dye out of that. And if you lived in the middle of Germany where you had no access to oceans, it was very expensive to try to import that as a luxury. So all the royalty could afford to wear purple. It was definitely a color of royalty because no one could afford to import from Italy or from the coast of the Mediterranean shellfish to crush up to make into dye, not even for food, just for luxury. And that was why things like that were so expensive. So when trying to, and you think back to like this society that we're in a very similar society where there is trade and things like that. And it probably is a little more interconnected than Middle Ages. But still, you probably wouldn't have access to all the colors. I mean, you don't have a printer in the society and things like that, you know, where you can just mix colors and have crowns.
Also, Chris, may I present the unreliable narrator? Because that's just what Elaine thinks.
True.
Yeah. And I mean, it was posed as a question, so I will go ahead and say that you're absolutely right about that. She's like, maybe it has to do with the colors. Maybe that's why I'm not getting it right. Again, in my mind, colors goes to maybe she's using the wrong things to make what she's trying to make. And we don't really get into elemental magic. And well, that's not true. We don't get into magic that requires a source.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, beyond
those
like
sources,
hair and
it's a
mark
true source.
blades, like beyond the hair and mark blade and that sort of thing. We don't really have like metals and such required. So
all the power comes from the same source, and it divides into different types of weaves, but it's not different sources. They're drawn from the same place.
There you go.
Yeah. So they start getting ready to take a sleep, and Nynaeve, I think, dozes off first, starts sawing logs while Elaine's like in the middle of talking, and she's like, she's sleeping. I guess I should go to sleep too.
Well, they're gonna be late. They're supposed to be meeting the others. So, and you don't want to make them late because it's 50 lashes or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they wake up and they're and waiting for the wise ones to show up, and she thinks it's funny that she's told them they can step into the dream wherever they want to step into, but they always go to their rooms first and come out like they're supposed to leave their bodies. Like, you don't have to do that. We can just show up wherever. Like, that's not how this works.
That just goes to show you that I know way more than a novice.
Yeah. Yep.
I will say though, kind of defending the Aes Sedai, not many people know what their room looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So they're coming into the realm in a safe place.
Right.
If you were just to pop up somewhere that everybody and anybody and their mother can know, that people know that you visited often, and that's where you wake up, then you might be waking right up until, like, I don't know, a Trolloc stew or something, So though they may not be doing it on purpose, on accident, on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe
they have a point.
Yeah. Yeah. So they get there, and all the Aes Sedai show up. All of them. And they're ready to learn. But the whole thing is they're trying to get to Alida Study to do some reconnaissance missions. And they do explain again. I mean, a lot of this is recap, but at the same time, it's reinforcing some of the elements and some of the ways that Teleron works as far as how it mirrors the real world. And they talk about some of the metaphysics here as far as how some Aes Sedai believe that there's a ton of different worlds, and they're not really 100% sure how it all works, but they know that Teleron is kind of unique because it mirrors our world, and they can kind of get things from it. If that makes sense. Actually, it probably doesn't make sense, but that's the point.
So it's really weird not having Ian here.
I know.
I'm like, where is the other voice?
I'm trying real hard.
Jake.
It's okay.
But I also know things too, so
you're not allowed to talk. And I'm like, yeah, there's that conversation, but to me, it didn't really. You can't really pull any. Well, I guess you can, but you can't really pull anything out of this world. Like, you come back with the injuries and such from this world, but I guess that would be the question: is what?
I mean, you can pull Brigitte out.
Yeah, so there's that. But how is that done? I don't know that they ever really figured that out, which would have been one of the first questions I would have asked Mogadine when I captured her was, how did you do it? Yeah. And then the question goes, like, what happens if you pull somebody that's dreaming out?
Yeah.
You'd be
so do you think, like, body. I mean, they talk about going into the dream in the flesh. Do you think it's possible to pull someone out somewhere else? Like Brigitte, like pull things out, or people out? You mentioned pulling people out. Do you think that's possible? Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you pulled somebody's soul out of the dream, would they just die because they're separated from their body, or would they become like ghostly creatures? Maybe that's how you create a what are they called? And I can't think of the word right now. I can't think of it. It won't come to me. The creatures that rule over the Trolloc. Myrtle, yeah, maybe that's how you create a Myrtle. Separate the soul from the body through Talan.
I don't think they've talked about how Myrtle are created yet.
No, I was trying to remember.
I was trying to remember if they did or not. I don't think they have. So, okay.
Read and find out.
Raffo!
So I know my way is wrong, but do I think things could be pulled out? Yes. I mean, things could be hidden there too. Maybe that's where some of the last of the seals are hidden, or maybe there's some powerful tool that they're going to need and it's there. Who knows?
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, they go to the White Tower, and they're trying to gather information, and there's not a whole lot they can gather there. But one interesting is Alida does show up. So, thoughts? Go.
Well, first I want to kind of take a step back and then go to the whole, like, I'm enjoying how the interactions with Swan and Leanna are going.
Okay.
Even they're keeping up their facade very well, and we have a saying, it's like, if live your lie. and they are definitely doing the best job of that. And then for her to show up while they are all in her office, I wonder if she gets clued in at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not an idiot. She's just not the sharpest tool in the shed. She's
but again,
slightly
she is sleeping, so she thinks it's a dream, right? I mean, I don't know.
yeah. But how much do we know about what she knows when it comes to this world? Does she know anything about it at all? I'm wondering, because she's got to realize that they keep staying a step or two ahead of her, and that's probably a frustrating point.
Right.
So if I were her, that I would be thinking about all the different possibilities, and then if I see all these women in my dream, I would be a little suspicious.
Right.
But that's just me.
Yeah. So we'll kind of go through the reports that they get. I mean, they split up. Half goes to look at the keeper's work table. The other half go to look at Armelin's desk, to Alada's desk, and see what they can find. And they read through lots of reports. I mean, they definitely find that Moraine has a arrest warrant, which they think is interesting. That they don't know that yet. That Moraine's no longer there.
Yeah.
That she did.
I mean, they might as well keep it because she's coming back.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And the blight is really quiet.
But there are Borderlanders scrapping, I believe.
Yeah.
Which they don't do. That was brought up. They don't fight each other because they have too much going on fighting the Trollocs and all the dark things. But clearly there's some huge chaos going on, and they're being pulled to fight each other, which shouldn't happen. Unless some of them have turned to the dark side.
That could happen too. And then also they learn about the what is it? Not the congregation, but the escorts are the procession going to Kyrian to try to find Rand.
Yeah.
And she finds that really interesting because they know that Rand's done this whole amnesty thing. Yet they're still going to try to talk to him, and they wonder how they're trying to handle that.
I mean, we know as the reader that they really just want to trap Rand and get rid of him. That's their goal. But
sure,
at the end of the day, I would have a little bit of fear too that Rand may go with them or side with them just for the sake of bringing all the Aes Sedai back together.
Okay.
He needs as much power as he can get. He needs this group not broken up.
Do you think he can control the Aes Sedai? Do you think the Aes Sedai will serve him?
There's not a single man that can control a woman. We just think we can. we all know.
Good answer.
So there's a good paragraph a little bit before that where they're talking about correspondence with some of the rulers of some of the lands.
Yeah, Stephaneus.
Yeah, Matt and Stephaneus, King Rodrin. Well, he said he's still trying to take every side, and some of them, and she's basically like, press them, do what you got to do, get them on our side.
Yeah, indeed. So definitely trying to build connections everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like the whole world is split between them because they're not getting solid yeses from
anybody.
Right.
And I mean, why would you? Elida is not showing that she has much power. Well, not power, but control.
Right.
It's one thing to have a lot of power. It's another thing to have that power plus the control of the power. And we know Swan did a really good job of keeping things, together.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Elida kind of more relies on the title she holds for her power than actually doing anything.
Right.
Agreed.
And back to the whole Elida showing up, we kind of skimmed over that. She did say that she foretold them all bowing down to her. Now, do you think that's actually a real foretelling? Because she does have that power. That is something that Elida does have.
Yeah, I mean, that was a comment that was made.
But
I don't think it was.
Yeah, Elaine's like, I think she might have just dreamed that, or not even.
Now, mind you, as we go further along this chapter, there is an emissary that comes.
Oh, yeah, at the end. Yeah.
So, but I don't see these women bowing. Not all of them. There may be some in that room that definitely will bow. But there are at least 4 in that room that are not bowing to anybody. And we know who they are. I mean, let's just be real. We're not going to have Elaine or Nynaeve bowing down. And we're definitely not going to have Swan or Leanne.
Have we had the chapter with her foretelling yet?
Oh, she had that chapter in Eye of the World where
Yeah, with
she
her
saw
and
Rand first.
No,
see
no,
what Mace's
no. The
work.
one that she's referring to right here. Because I don't think she's actually having a foretelling right now. I think she's referring to a foretelling that she had.
Yeah, I don't know if we have or not.
I don't
Okay.
remember one. If it was very brief and it did not stick with me.
It says, as I have foretold, capital F, she intoned, the White Tower will be reunited under me. Under me! With some gusto.
Maybe for like a minute, and then Nynaeve's gonna kill her and take over.
But yeah, so she has foretold something.
Yeah.
I mean, under her is relative, under her for a minute, for a moment, for a second, for the time it takes for Nynaeve to plunge a blade in through her heart.
Do you think that's how she's gonna die, by Nynaeve's hand?
Yeah.
Or do you think she's gonna die?
Don't do that. She's definitely gonna die. She has to. She's not one to give up power. Either that or we get an idam around her neck, and then we have the foretelling at our beck and call.
Okay.
So
interesting.
With how she is, do you think she's actually like evil? Or like capital E evil or little?
I mean,
evil?
she's not
black evil.
She's not Black Tower evil. Like she's not
Black Aja.
Black Aja. Yeah. Sorry, Black Tower. She's not Black Aja evil. No, I think she's just a
drunk
little
on
maniacal.
Power?
Yes, maniacal and drunk on power. She's enjoying her position, and she probably had some scary foretelling, and she wanted to gain control of things before it got out of hand. I mean, if you have that type of power to see things and you think you can have an impact on it, then the next logical move would be to take control to stop whatever you see from happening, or at least lessen the blow.
So she's a like a by any means necessary kind of person.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with.
Ends justify the means.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, speaking of getting out of hand, thanks for the transition. They hear scream down the hallway.
This is, of course, after Nynaeve and I can never think of her name when I want to. Starts with the L. Was split up to go do their own thing.
Yeah, they leave to go do their own thing, and
then we hear the scream. And we go down the hall, and there's people in a cook pot. There are Trollocs all over. They're massive Trollocs,
but they're in a bubble, and Elaine's standing outside the bubble, and they can see inside the bubble and see all the stuff. But where they are, it's still all the White Tower. But then there's an invisible barrier. And
now, see, in my mind, they were in the White Tower in a bubble, so that it doesn't.
The bubble they were looking at, it said like it was a large cavern with cook pots, and I mean it was completely different than where they were. It was not the corridor. So but they could see through it and everything, like, so you can imagine like this like shimmering screen, and it's maybe, do you think this is a real nightmare that someone else conjured up, or is this something maybe a Forsaken threw at them, or is this a Michael Bublé?
I was gonna say, so skipping all the way to the end, Demon Dread was there. And so, as much as at the same time, I should say, I think any one of these ladies would be likely to be having a nightmare about Trolloc. But I could see him putting that there just to mess with them, just to see what he could do, because clearly he knew they were coming. So I believe he's probably been watching them for a while.
Okay.
So from at the end, whenever it showed him for a moment, he was there with watching Elaine in the Andoran Palace in Camelin. So do you think he was there at the White Tower following them? And then
I think he was there for another reason. This is why I say there's probably a way to put and pull things out. And that's why I think there may be a seal, because I think he's trying to find the rest of the seals and destroy them and set his lord free.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I mean, how else do you become nameless but then to enable your master to do what he needs to do? Nameless, enabler.
Yeah.
Sure. It's not the same. It's not.
So
Yeah, so they run down the hallway, like I said, and then they see this crazy scene going on, and Elaine immediately tries to instruct Shiriam, who's run with them, to just don't think about something else. Try to picture it as it was, and she immediately gets sucked into the bubble and starts getting tortured as well. And she can see all them torturing, and she's still standing outside with who's she outside with?
Swan.
Yeah, Swan. And she's like talking about like, how are they going to do this? Can we will the bubble away from the outside? Do we have to actually go in? And
you got to pop the bubble. And then you said something. We call it a bubble. Maybe it is the influence of the Dark One here, but it's too specific.
Yeah.
But like you said, Jake, earlier, like, was he really there for them or for something else?
Or was he even in the White Tower at all, or was he just at the palace in Camelot?
Yeah, and that's what I'm going back, kind of backtracking a little bit. He wasn't really at the White Tower, at the tower. He was just at the palace. So maybe this is the Dark One kind of bleeding in, because it was still uncharacteristically hot in there as well.
Well, so Elaine did say that it was a nightmare, and they are in the world of dreams.
Mm-hmm. But who's a nightmare?
Yeah, but it could be other people's nightmares as well. They explain that, like, if someone else thinks of it and then wakes up, the nightmares can still survive in the Tel'aran'rhiod past that other person and wander around aimlessly.
There's no coincidence in this book. You go ahead and take that right there. That thought will not come up for me. There's no coincidence in these books, so we can move past that idea.
So they're all being tortured. Carolina is being hung upside down by chains and being slowly lowered down head first into a bubbling pot of oil. Probably some cooking oil or something like that. It's a chocolate cooking pot. Wants to do some deep fried Aes Sedai. Mm-hmm. Another one's throwing like roots into another one. Trying to get some spices going. They're good. They're getting ready to feast, and Aes Sedai's on the menu. So they had to think fast, because obviously they don't have much time. Because
Elaine thought on her feet. Like she is very humble, and the word courage would not come to her mind in describing herself. But this was a courageous act, and it kind of shows that she's going to make a good ruler at some point.
See, you said the same thing that Nynaeve says later on, except yours was not condescending at all.
Yeah, I have all the faith.
Thoughts without a condescending tone.
There's part of me that thinks that she's going to be ruling doubly by being in charge of the Aes Sedai, and I'm not going to say take her mother's throne, because her mother's not gone yet. So I could see her taking control of the Aes Sedai and then partnering with her mother to become like a reckoning.
Okay.
Like
I like
no other.
Yeah. Do you think that her mother will abdicate the throne to her while she's still alive, or do you think
nope.
Okay.
That's not in her nature.
Okay.
She's gonna rule until she dies.
I just want to throw in that word abdicate, because it's just a fun word.
It's not gonna happen. She's like, you have your throne, enjoy the tower. When I die, you can have both. Until then, me and the men that I choose will run this spot.
Mm-hmm. Yes, also some of the other tortures going on. Anaya is being dragged by her wrist and being flogged with metal tipped whips, so like a cat of nine tails, which is pretty gruesome. I think Shireen's been put into like a giant bell or something like that. It looks like some kind of metal structure. Like they all have these different things going on. Marvin's being stretched on a wheel. So that's classic.
Again, very kinky.
Yeah, there's some
German show that I watched one time that I wasn't supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
have been rated X.
It even said, just a nightmare in truth. Like the true source no longer existed for her, not there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
It's really funny how that it's almost like being in a setting. It kind of strips you of your senses of yourself, and it did it like that. Like
definitely an Aes Sedai's nightmare.
Yeah, they were there and they were gone.
as soon as they accepted it was real, they were in it.
Yeah.
Right. And Elaine figures the only way to get them out is to go in and try to convince them all that this is not real. And if they all think that at the same time, maybe they can finally defeat this nightmare. And that's, I mean, I've seen Nightmare on Elm Street. I know that doesn't really work that well because Freddy still comes after you, drags you back in. I've seen it. It's not the way it works. But apparently here, that's their strategy. So Elaine goes in immediately. She's tied down and trying as hard as she can to will the corridor back, but she can't do it alone. So she, starts yelling out for them all to think of the corridor. As a Trolloc sees her, comes up to her and pulls her up by her hair and starts trying to cut her throat, slit her throat.
Yeah.
Pretty intense scene.
I mean, he first starts by slicing her clothes off. We can't forget that. And then holds her down, and then
that's gnarly.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing a really good job. I mean, first you take the skin off, then you cut the throat up and you hang it upside down and you bleed it out. That's the best way to preserve the meat.
Oh yeah.
So it didn't coagulate. The blood didn't coagulate on the inside. So he's doing a good job prepping his food.
Yeah. So actually that's another fun story. So when you cook like a rare steak and people say it's bloody because it has that red stuff that comes out. It's not blood.
It's not blood.
No.
Because whenever people treat an animal, they're blood dry. There's no blood left in them. It's actually a protein in the muscle groups. It actually really has a lot of amino acids. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's actually really, really healthy for you. And if you cook a steak too long, you actually cook out that. And it's actually really, really good for you. It's not blood. It's actually a protein that's really good for you. Good
to know. So, what is it the same way in hamburger too?
Yeah. But hamburger ground beef is not as sanitary as steak.
Yeah.
Just because of the processing of it. Because you have lots of surface exposed to open air when you ground beef versus having a steak that's cut and none that's ever exposed to air.
Gotcha.
That piece of meat. So it just
welcome to the Wheel Cooks.
Yeah. Well, Jake here is a cook, so Jake can actually attest to a lot of this. But I learned that a while ago, and people are like, "Oh, the steak's bloody." I was like, "No, it's not. It's not blood." I learned that now. I share that fact all the time. I'm like, "No, it's not blood. It's not actually blood."
Not gonna change anybody's mind though.
Yeah, people still think it's a bloody steak.
When red stuff starts dripping on my plate, I'm like,
it's good for you.
So just get your piece of toast and no.
It's just sauce. It's sauce.
If I have fried eggs with it, then I'm good. I just crack the yolk in there, which is probably worse for you, the yolk, than the hemoglobin. Who knows?
That depends.
I like it all.
The shell carries more than actual yolk.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. I like that. Let's look it off.
Anyway, I don't mind raw egg. I mean, I eat cookie dough, so I'm a fat kid when it comes all to that. Time. And I'm like, it says raw egg, do not eat. And
I have yet.
It reminds me you have to. Most batches of cookie dough is going to have 2 eggs in it, and if you eat, unless you eat the whole thing, even if you do, you're only having 2 eggs.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. And it reminds me of the Lord of the Rings meme where someone's like, "You can't eat raw cookie dough. Throw in the oven and bake it." No.
My precious. Stupid fat hobbits. He ruins it.
Throw it into the fire. No.
So right before Elaine gets her throat slit, they snap out of it.
They snap out of it, yeah. And she gets
right
a
in the
tiny
nick of time.
little nick.
Just a little shaving cut.
Yeah. Little nick to the throat. But enough of a nick to make her voice hoarse. So I guess it was a good cut.
They cut into there a little bit. They spliced
a little bit more than a razor cut. I slipped a razor when shaving. No, that's
yeah. But, no. Some of them barbers go pretty deep.
Yeah,
had me worried.
Oh. Have you ever had a good straight edge shave?
I have. I just had one not too long ago. The guy I went to last did not use anything though, no cream or anything. So it was dry. He did a good job, but I was a little worried. I was quite worried actually.
Man. Yeah, no, my barber always he hooks it up and
no wax, no nothing, just pulled it out and just went to work, and he just pulled it on my skin, and I'm like, oh my god, please don't make a mistake.
Don't mess up. Don't mess up. Yeah. My most interesting one, I was in Indonesia where no one spoke English. I got a haircut there. They did a shave. So in a
Oh.
third world country, getting a straight edge shave. I'm like,
I pulled out this rusty blade and a
I think it's
thing
still
of
like
leather.
cut me and steal my kidney. I don't know. It's you never know.
Like, wait, my beard's not down my shirt. Why,
Yeah.
why am I changing to the chair?
And it'd be one thing if I was like in Bali, like a tourist center. No, this was like in like off the beaten path, sailing through Indonesia and not a tourist area at all.
Yeah.
Like,
They had the trolley pot going.
oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, so let's see, where were we? So yeah, they think of it just in the nick of time, literally half a second later.
Nick of time.
Yeah, half a second later, and Elaine would have been dead because you
Sure.
die and tell Ron the same way as you do in the real world. And they all snap out of the dream or the nightmare, not the dream itself. But they decide after that it's time to go back. And Elaine protests, saying she wants to stay. Swan says she's gonna stay, and they're like, "Okay, Swan can stay. Elaine, you're coming with us."
Yeah.
But Elaine doesn't
I
listen.
don't get Swan is not the one,
No.
but she still has control somehow. So
Yeah.
and what was she going to look for, and what did she
So-
find? And
Someone did mention, yeah. I mean, she was yelling a lot to get the rest of the Ice to focus. Yeah, focus on the corridor.
That's why her throat was raw. I don't think the cut was that bad.
I think that's from her screaming.
I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
we're all entitled to our own thoughts.
Sure.
we are.
So, what was your question about Swan? About her thinking?
No, I just want to know what she found, what she's coming up with. Like,
Hmm.
I want to know if she's found a way to reach out to
Well,
her.
I mean, think about it. She's been stilled, and she still has power in this world. So I think that's psychologically, I think that's part of why Swan wants to. So, and this is just me thinking. This is nothing based on text. It's just this is what thinking that Swan wants to, grasp onto this because it feels.
I
somewhat
wonder if
like-
she's also found a way to connect to people in her network. If she's learned how to step into other people's dreams.
Okay.
Like,
Interesting.
they don't really talk about that, but we do know that she's got a great connection with her network and she's able to get information quickly. And this would be one of the easiest ways is to know the people she's looking for, go to their homes, enter into their dreams, communicate with them, and step back out.
Well,
Yeah.
she doesn't have to go to their home to go into their dreams.
No, and she doesn't. She can go straight into their dreams. But
Mhm.
if she's like the others who are still taking things step by step by step,
Do you think Swan's still, baby stepping it?
I don't know. Probably. She's still got that edgy air to her.
Mhm. And yeah, when they get out, all the Aes Sedai are beat up to hell. Like they're rough. And Carlina's like hair is all like melted down. But she's actually the best one because the rest of them are all
it
like
was just her hair.
just her hair. Yeah, everybody else is like
That's a
bloody.
horrible smell to have to smell. Burnt hair, singed hair. Oh,
Ugh.
gross.
Yeah.
It's bad. But yeah, the rest of them are all full of open gashes and things like that. And
Full of reminders as to why they should listen better. It's a hard lesson to learn.
it is. But they go and leave, and Elaine, of course, disobeys and stays behind for a little bit because she wants to go check out Camelin.
Yeah.
So I want to make a note saying she tries to go to Camelin and she succeeds going there, but she finds it difficult to go there. Why do you think that is?
Because things have changed.
Do you think that's okay?
They're not what they're supposed to be. And the other thought is maybe she was being blocked, but she was stronger than the person blocking.
Okay. Who's blocking?
Demon Dread.
Okay.
Obviously.
Yeah, like that would be the answer right there. Like he just didn't want anybody.
Do you think also it might have been Rand? I mean, because Rand has been warding his dreams to keep Aes Sedai out. He's in Camelin.
They
He was. in Camelin.
they either mentioned that earlier or they'll mention that in the next chapter.
They do mention that he wards his dreams so much that you can't get into them. And that could be a potential reason why. But
But he's not. She wasn't trying to go to his dream.
But I
No,
mean, if he's in the throne
Morty
room
just,
sleeping, maybe he fell asleep while he was listening to people.
I mean, last time we left Rand, he was down near Tyr, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's still he can travel. He can use Gateway, so he can be wherever.
Beep, 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 boop, I'm going here today.
He can be wherever he wants.
I think this is Demon Dread trying to cover his tracks and make sure nobody bothers him while he's looking for whatever he's looking for.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think about her reaction when she sees the lion throne and sees the big dragon throne?
I think it's reasonable. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But it wasn't even for
Who
like.
do you think you are?
Yeah, like you know, my people don't do that. Like, you should have sat on the throne. That would have made at least more sense to them. But to put the throne on a pedestal and put your own in its place is like.
I don't know.
I always know he didn't do it himself, but
I always had a problem with her jumping to that conclusion about Rand immediately.
well, did she? I don't know that she really jumped to that conclusion. She just was questioning what he was doing and whether or not he was handling her people properly. So I was more concerned with his inability or assumed inability to handle her people, and not any problem with the fact that he may or may not have taken over. I mean, we know his thoughts, which is, you know, if the queen shows up, she can have her damn throne. I'm just, you know, gonna rule over her. But we all know that she's not gonna listen to that. So, you know, we'll just let her be Switzerland.
Yeah. Definitely. So any final thoughts before she steps out of Teleranriad?
Let the Lord of Chaos rule.
I was going to get to Demon Dread next, but
Hey, he's there.
He's there. I mean, British just looks and says, you know, hey, I don't understand it, but you know, that's what he had told him is let the Lord of Chaos rule.
Well, he is under the assumption that she is very upset with Rand. So he's making assumptions and they are false. So I'm wondering if he tries to reach out to her in some way, tries to manipulate her, and then finds out the hard way that he made a mistake.
Okay.
That would be an interesting twist.
Okay.
Or it would be even twistier if he didn't make a mistake and she does partner up with him. That would make for a little bit more of an interesting book.
Do you think Elaine's going to partner with Demon Dread?
No, she's not. But it
Okay.
would be. But I feel like he's gonna ask. He's gonna think that she's got some type of vendetta and try to make an appeal to her. I think that could be the case.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Any final thoughts from this chapter? 'Cause that's how we end.
I
Let the
have,
Lord of Chaos
I have
rule.
a little thing.
Okay.
He mentally makes the comment about her looking faint because she's using the copy of the Dream Terangrial, but he said it's a minor Terangrial, and so
he said a practice, didn't he?
He said he using a minor Terangrial by the faint look, one made for training beginning students.
Yeah.
So do you think maybe I just caught this actually? Like that one may be like the original Dream Terangrial was the minor one, and so her making a copy of the minor one.
Oh,
because for the rings you don't have to channel into them; they just have to be touching your skin.
Right.
I guess it depends on what kind of train of thought you go. There's part of me that's like, maybe he realizes that to make the stronger ones, like the original, you have to have more expensive metals and you have to use more intricate weaving and more power poured into it. So then the one that she has is a lesser version used to train people to use the bigger version.
Well, I could be wrong, but didn't she say that the disc that she made a copy of that they have to channel into when they're going to sleep? The Aes Sedai that were using that one appeared like they were solid.
Yeah.
I love finding out new shit.
I mean, no, I think they were misty, but they still felt solid because they bumped into her.
Solid, but they still look misty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they bump into her, and
it's really weird that what I really caught on to is the fact that they use so many different Terangrial for the same purpose. but we know one requires channeling, the other does not. And anybody can use the one that does not. So they were made for different reasons. For a person that can channel, they can enter with one thing. For the person that cannot, they have to use another. And why would they do that unless they were using things that were harder to get for one and easier to get for the other? Or that's kind of my thought. I don't know what the thing would be, but
you think you know.
I do.
Yeah. Cool. That's all I got.
Okay, cool. Well, you guys want to move right on?
Sure.
Yeah. Do you feel good, Chris?
I need to blow my nose, so if you can give me 2 seconds to do that, I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, that doesn't deserve a break for blowing nose. We'll just wait. We'll wait for 5 seconds for a nose blow.
What?
No, you're good. Go blow your nose. We'll be right back as Chris blows his nose. Not really on break, but kind of on break. I figured I'd use the banner. Why not? Could play music. The Will Weaves is the one. That it does. Like my new ones I added.
I do.
Yeah. All sorts of fun stuff. I need to add more. I don't want to get too clogged where I can't figure out what is what, but yeah. All right. And we're back.
You had that one thing that's just hanging out, and you're like, what happens if it hangs out while we're live? You can't cut that out.
We're on camera.
Nope. And I'm not putting in my editing software to do it. So this is live. Live is live. All right. So moving on. Welcome back.
What is this new symbol? Have we seen this one before?
Yes, we have.
That's how I get for listening now, not looking.
Yes, yeah. I have that same one too, or same idea too. Sometimes
I will tell you what the symbol is in a second. So, moving on to chapter 8, which is the storm gathers, and our chapter symbol is an IDOM. It's a leash with a collar. It looks a little crazy, but yeah, it's just the wristband and the collar.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think we have had this symbol before. I believe so.
Maybe.
I can tell you real fast. The first time it appears is actually in the Great Hunt.
There you go, people.
That tracks, actually.
Yep. Chapter 40 of the Great Hunt. This is the chapter symbol, and then it doesn't appear again until now. So we've
only had it one. That's why.
Yeah, that's probably why. But yeah, it's an item. So the chapter begins as Nynaeve awakes. Because we're in
the storm gathers. So let's look at that title real quick.
Unpack that. Okay.
In my mind, I'm like, this is a metaphorical storm.
Okay.
And some stuff's about to go down. I was super excited for this chapter.
It's about to go down.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
But how many times did Nynaeve talk about a storm or think about a storm?
I know, a whole lot in this chapter. And I was kind of hoping they would get some rain and cool them off a little bit, but still. And she was talking about hail. Well, as hot as it is, hail would melt, hopefully, and, give them some water and some reprieve. And then again, we are in the world that we are in, and the dark one is seeping out, so it could be fire and brimstone that's going to hail down on people.
Yeah. Hail's no joke either, man.
No, it's not. I have watched it beat cars up. Actually, it's so funny. Somebody tried to sell me a Yaris once. First and foremost, do you know how large I am? A Yaris.
You can't fit in the Yaris.
It hailed here a few weeks ago, and I was driving on the road, and I slowed down to a crawl, and this big old pickup truck just floored it into the hail, and literally saw him pull over a block later, and I drove past him, his windshield's completely smashed. I was like, why are you gonna drive 45 miles an hour through hail? You are an idiot.
Yeah. But some people never take physics and have no common sense.
Yeah.
So
it's hailing, let's just floor it.
I just that Yaris was so like it looked like a golf ball on the top. Like you could tell it clearly had been through the worst of hailstorms. And I looked at the guy and I'm like, and you guys have this at this price? And he kind of like laughed. I'm like, yeah. And I never bought a car from there. So anyway, Nynaeve wakes up the next morning at first light feeling grumpy. She had a sense of bad weather coming, yet at a glance out the window revealed not a single cloud, marring the still gray sky. So way back when we learned that she has the inept ability to predict the weather because she can sense it. She could quote unquote talk to the wind like all the other wisdoms. It was more or less a feel or of the draw from the power, but I'm wondering, like, why is she feeling it so intensely now? Is there something more powerful coming her way? That's kind of where my mind went with that. Is maybe now this is like an indicator, like the doorbell being rung, like, hey, watch out. I don't know. Part of me is hoping this is her senses heightening as she, trains more and more, and that her block is like really soon going to be overcome, because we still have that annoying thing.
Yeah. And we talk a lot about that this chapter.
We do, for no reason. This is why when Ian, he's like, no, stop. There's probably a reason. Like, have you thought about? I'm like, no, Ian. But we'll go with that. I will feed into this.
Fair enough.
So you actually think that it's a metaphorical storm, just like in her, like the way that she's able to put together is like just the shape of the world for them at this point.
I do.
Where things are heading or seem to be heading.
Yeah, I think it's now that she's kind of tuned into the fact that she has these powers and she's trying to understand them better, they're revealing more to her.
Okay. She's just too stubborn to get past her country bumpkin ways.
Correct. Because if she could gain access to her power kind of indefinitely and really accept it and not allow herself to be blocked, I feel like she's going to have some greater power that we just haven't seen yet.
Ooh, so you think like her being blocked is more kind of, or once she figures that out, if she figures that out, like the storm will actually, she'll figure out what that actually means?
Yes, that's my thought.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
I feel like it's pressure. Like maybe she can kind of sense when the Dark One's going to escape. Maybe, I don't know. That's something in regards to like, because I don't know how to describe it. I just have a gut feeling. That's it.
Yeah. Well, let's get right into this actual chapter. I mean, we'll get to those parts of the storm in a bit, but it starts out with Elaine getting ready for the day, and Elaine wants to tell her about what happened to her after Nynaeve and Leanne left, and Nynaeve's just kind of grumbling the entire time about how I think they know everything.
She's like, I told them about the nightmares. I warned them, and last night was not the first time. So they're lucky to not have died.
Yeah.
And then she's like, that was good thinking on your part, Elaine. And she then also has the thought, like, I wish Elaine would just own up to the fact that she's a brave person, because she's much braver than I am. Clearly, that's the case. Yeah. All the self-doubt and self-pity. I just want to smack her sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very human thing, though. People are that way.
I have it all the time. Trust me. I get it. I completely understand her. And sometimes the thing that stops the block is a good smack in the face and a reminder that
it's funny in writing too. I mean, this is something that people often point out, is that like you end up hating characters because you want your characters to always be heroes in your mind, and then when they're more human, people get like upset about it. Like, why are they doing that? Like, well, that's what people do. Like, and it frustrates people. Like, it's people brought that up. And not getting too much into it, but like you guys mentioned it with Gawain and like the whole entire Fall of the White Tower and everything like that. People hate Gawain. But if you look at it, like it's actually a very human response. Like it's a very common thing that, put into a decision, his reasons behind it and things like that. It's not a liked response, but it's
it's a response nonetheless. I'm going to join the winning crowd.
Does happen. a lot of times that history, and a lot of times. So yeah.
I
But
mean,
ends
if
up-
you just think about kids playing a game.
Mhm.
The minute one team's winning, it's like, oh no, I'm on their side.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, my son's horrible about it. I mean, he's 4 years old, and he doesn't understand the concept of losing that much at all. And I mean, in fact, I tried to. He's a little young for it, but still, every once in a while, I'm like, nope, you didn't win that one. I don't let him win because I think that teaches bad lessons too. So it's
My nephews never won when they were younger.
yeah. I mean, it's something like, not to like beat someone down and occasionally let one go, but not all the time. And he struggles with that because he wants to always be the winner and that kind of stuff, and always the good guy. That's
Alan's just red shelling his kid on Mario Kart day in and day out.
blue shell, man. I said the blue shell. Just
You only get the blue shell if you're in last place.
yeah, I saw a meme once, like how to raise your kid is like, you give him a high five every single day of his life, like high five, and then start introducing down low, and you keep on doing that for years, and then you wait till like they're around 5 years old, and then you introduce too slow, like out of the blue, just to crush everything.
I did this to little kids.
Too slow. All your hopes and dreams just shatter away.
My nephews learned that very early on. I'm having my oldest nephew come and visit for a few days. He'll be here Friday, and he's 17. And so I love the fact that I can have the come to Jesus moments with him, and he's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's life. Because like he didn't do what he's supposed to do in school. He's coming into his senior year with a 2.7, and he wants to go D1 and play football.
Yeah.
I'm like, bruh, let's just be real. You're not that great of an athlete. You're a phenomenal kid. You're a good football player, but you're not D1 material. And then with a 2.7, you'll be lucky to go to college at all. Let's be realistic here. And he's like, bet. You always challenge me, Uncle Chris. I got this. I'm like, no. This is the moment I'm being serious. He's like, I know. But now I'm just going to try to do it just to spite you. I'm like, yes. That's what I want. That was my goal. Like, I want you to just be like, you tell me I can't do it, I'm going to try anyway. And if I fall a little short, at least I did the best I could. Like, that's all I can ask for.
My other brother, I have two younger brothers. The one that's been on the podcast, the other one that doesn't listen to us and doesn't read fantasy at all. He played football in high school and went to a private school and was kind of like a really good lineman. I mean, he's a big kid, not like your size, Chris, big. He's private school big.
Gotcha. Yeah.
private school white boy. So he was like, a good lineman, and in his little league that he played in locally with all the private schools and stuff like that, and did well, because he was big enough to play on the line. And then they had an invitational game where they played against a Charlottesville private school. And the lineman he went against, so he was, offensive, or I guess he was defensive line, and it was offensive line. But the lineman that he lined up against was Chris Long, Howie Long's son. And the NFL, Howie Long is a very, very famous NFL player, Hall of Famer, I think, actually.
Well, Chris Long is really good in his own right.
In his own right. I mean, he was NFL as well. He went eventually, but this is high school. So it's before he went to the NFL. And Chris Long was amazing. Yeah. So my brother had to go and line up against Chris Long. And it was very humbling, a very humbling experience. I'm really good. Yeah.
270, like, and went to the University of Virginia.
He went to UVA, yeah. And then went and played NFL for a while. It was good in the NFL.
Never mind.
Anyway, so, but yeah, my brother's humbled very fast. But yeah, so same type of concept where you get humbled really fast. When you're talking about your nephew thinks he's like the best thing in the entire world, and you get put against the real deals, and you're like, yeah, I'm not really that
I
good.
moved him from Williamsburg to Newport News for that matter, because in Williamsburg he was that guy.
Yeah.
And then and Jake, just to put this into perspective, he went from like being the largest motherfucker on the field to being average. Driving 20 minutes and going to a new school. Like, became quite ridiculous. He's like, yeah, I thought it was better than that. All right.
You can be. Well, and that also, completely different tangent. You get better by going up against people that are better. You get
Correct.
consistent by going up against people that are just as good as you.
Agreed. You gotta go up against somebody better than you to enhance yourself. Which I think is where Nynaeve is kind of finding herself, is she is now going up against people that are better than she is, and the people that she considered less than are now becoming better than. I mean, look at Elaine and Egwene, like they have excelled.
Oh, sure. But they have. But I mean, I think Nynaeve's frustration is she is better and more powerful than most of the Aes Sedai that are talking down to her, and she's just fed up with it. I think she's more. I mean, she beat Moghedien, a Forsaken, by herself.
Well, she was HBIC in the Two Rivers, like the women's circle. Like she was above the women's circle. They answered to her, and then going to be, was it an accepted? I mean, she even skipped the lower rank, going to the white, and she never lost that mindset of I am HBIC.
Right.
No, you ain't. Not anymore.
Yeah. So, but she goes to go find Moghedien. That's where we are now. She finds her washing clothes. Not happy about it. Washing clothes, but she's trying to learn more from Moghedien. And that's the reason why she wants to go talk to her. It's like, you're going to teach me more about how to detect male weaves.
I need to get gooder.
It's interesting that that's her focus, though, to be able to detect the source within males.
Yeah.
Like, you would think that there would have been some indication that Rand kind of no longer needed that.
Okay.
Especially not from an Aes Sedai. Like, he doesn't need somebody who is going to be put under extreme stress finding this information when he's got people that can do it without issue.
Okay.
So that's lack of communication on his part, which we know is kind of a theme here. So
True.
And to find her washing clothes is hilarious because we know this woman to be a very vain and persnickety person. So to find her, I'm not going to say humbly washing clothes, but she's getting to work in.
We did skip a whole bunch of stuff between this and that.
Okay. Go back.
Well, no, because that was after she got back to her room, after she couldn't find anything else to do. Moghedien was originally washing clothes, and then she watched Elaine do her class, got bumped into.
No, you're skipping ahead.
Avoiding Aes Sedai left and right so she wouldn't have to do her chores.
Yeah, you're skipping ahead, though.
Yeah. No, it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, anywho.
Because she finds Moghedien.
Yeah.
And then she leaves Moghedien because she finds out that she's not getting Moghedien because Aes Sedai are people too, and somebody's getting married, and then two people are pregnant, and I need her to work as hard as she can to wash these clothes because I ain't doing it myself. And if you got lip, then maybe we can put you in here. So the lady that's in charge of the people washing clothes, she shows the correct level of honor to Aes Sedai, knowing that an accepted could just as easily be thrown in there to wash clothes and at her will, which is hilarious. I like the fact that there's a little bit of equality there and they can be just as easily put in their place. It's just the full-on Aes Sedai that have the full-on attitudes and get away with it. So
and also at that point, it's like a commune with a bunch of leaders because there's a shit ton of work that has to be done, and nobody's too good to get their hands dirty and wash some clothes except the Aes Sedai.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah. And eventually she leaves all this. I mean, getting past the whole Moghedien scene. Is there anything else from Moghedien that we want to talk about before we move to Nynaeve seeing Morel and following her and then stumbling into Logain?
No, not right now.
Okay. So eventually she finds Logain and surrounded by other Aes Sedai, and they're kind of drilling on about the story he's telling. And you
Well,
learn a
she
lot.
happens upon Logain running away
Right.
from responsibility. Let's be real. Let's paint her, the way
Sure.
she really is, which is a coward. I'm sorry. By now, she should have been antsy about figuring out how to get rid of this block and how to be useful. And instead,
Right.
she is ditching and dodging the lessons as best she can. So she
Right.
just so happens into a building, turns around, and boom, there's an Aes Sedai in her order, and then a bunch of town folk, high-end town folk, the royalty-ish type. And then you have Logain looking like a god with
Like
his
city royalty.
royalty, like his hair falls down to his shoulders in nice curls, and he's got a devilish grin. He's standing by the fireplace. This is my mind. Standing by the fireplace with a drink in his hand, and he's wooing the people. It was the Reds. They made me do it. They came in the night. They trapped me in my room. They told me that I was to be the one that they chose. And they set me up.
Yeah.
That's how that went. That was how I read it.
Yeah. He was set up. It was a trap. It's a trap.
I love how I hate and love at the same time. So we could see it going all the way back to the last chapter. The stole was being worn, but there was no blue on it.
Correct.
So in what's her name? Our Amerlin's Elida's mind, she annihilates the blue.
Sure.
She's rid of them.
Right.
They're no longer part of the group. And here we can see that the focus is getting rid of the red. Now, a house divided is a house conquered. And each one of these colors plays a very specific role, and they're needed for the totality. So, yeah, I mean, I see you doing this, but we still have to have balance. There's got to be balance.
I could go on for like 6 hours with the problems of the White Tower and Aes Sedai in general.
Got you. Okay. But we got to have balance. So for the fact that they're trying to ostracize a specific color,
Good word,
is horrible. And we see this in our current day-to-day. We see this happening. I mean, the one thing we all kind of glazed over, did not talk about, is the current state of our world. We have our own individual lives, but then we can see that the world is quickly going to wherever in a basket. And we can see people being ostracized left to right for whatever reason. They're from a different culture. They're from a different belief. They're from a different gender or sexuality, or, they believe they should have control over their own bodies. Like here, we can see that politics still plays a big role in the most powerful group of people in this world at the moment. And how rather than coming together, finding solidarity and finding a purpose greater than themselves, they're willing to ostracize and eliminate an entire group. And it's being done at the whim of one person on each side, Elida and Logain. We're allowing the entire ideas to be manipulated by the will of two people. Mind you, they're backed by a ton of people.
What was it? The whole of the Salidar contingent are backing Logain on it, so it's not just him, because they're getting these nobles, minor nobles, in just to talk to him. Like they
Correct.
are.
But at
I'm
the end of
not sure if any of this, or at this point in time, if any of his story is actually real.
Oh no, we know it's not real.
Yeah.
The Reds had nothing to do with this. Not that way.
Do we?
Yeah, this is a setup. Like they schemed this all up.
Yeah. That's what Logain's claiming.
No,
I'm saying Logain schemed this up with Swan.
Okay.
That's what I thought I read in the last book. I gotta go back.
No, I know what you're talking about. They talked about it a lot, but they got the idea from somewhere. Oh, I will be Charlie Day for you. So when they were traveling after they left the White Tower, and so they were filling Loghain's head, potentially filling Loghain's head with stories about the Reds and things that they had heard, and in his state of mind, I guess, probably could be easily swayed that that's actually what happened.
Yeah.
That's
or it could be what happened. I'm still undecided at this point.
Yeah. I mean, first person witnesses aren't always that credible. They've done studies on that, like where they showed a scene of a crime and then they interview you. They keep on talking about the guy in the blue shirt, and then they go back and interview the person again. It's like, what shirt was the guy wearing? And you saw the guy in real life had a green shirt on, but then you were told when recapping over and over again about a blue shirt. And then when you're asked like a month later, like, yeah, the guy was wearing a blue shirt. Like, it's a psychological, like your mind will automatically replace details with whatever you was implanting in your head.
Yeah.
And they've done studies about this over and over again. Like, it's a very common thing that the human brain wants to do this because it strives to appease and to fit holes. And yeah, anyway, I can go on and on about the human psyche, but yeah. So to Chris's point, Swan and Loghain having the conversation about the Reds, that might have influenced how Loghain remembered everything happening too. But also there could be some truth in what Loghain's saying as well. Because in Loghain's state of mind when he was traveling with Swan, he wasn't really talking to anybody, and he might have already had all these thoughts in his head, and he's just being grumpy Eeyore Loghain. I hate everything and everybody in the world. And
or all of this actually happened.
Yeah.
We'll
wrap up.
Read and find out.
Yeah, exactly. So, after all this, Nynaeve bumps into Lyanna, or notices, and Lyanna, does a curtsy and hurries off. And next thing she knows, she bumps into Swan, who is arguing with Gareth Bryn. And that's a really short scene, but apparently Nynaeve almost took her head off. Almost took his head off. Swan almost took Gareth Bryn's head off.
Swan was like, compliment. Yeah. You clearly don't know how to compliment. You sitting here calling me like I'm a dog.
Yeah.
That was a little earned.
He's like, compliment. You just don't know how to take a compliment, woman.
That also
place, woman.
They were both wrong.
They were.
Yeah.
This shirt's really soft. Thanks for my laundry, Swan. Shut the fuck up, Gareth.
That's exactly how I read it too. She's just so pissed off, and she probably didn't even do the laundry. She probably had somebody else do it for her, and then gave it to her, and then he gave it. She said, "Like, yeah," and then laughed at him. But instead, she ripped his head off.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little fucked up for him to just be woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, he is a hardened warrior who really has never had to compliment a woman. I mean, he's Gareth Bryn. I mean, he lived in the court. He was effing the queen.
Yeah.
Like, he was the man. So the fact
should have known how to talk to women.
No. I beg to differ. I feel like he was the strong and silent type, and now he has to talk to women because instead of just having the queen as beck and call.
I think it was the other way around.
I'm gonna put Gareth in a different light. Like, I like Gareth Bryn, so he was the strong, silent type who just, everything was up here. He had all the mental intellect of a hardened warrior, but lacked in court because warriors don't belong in court.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happened that the queen was really into the rough and tough guys.
Yeah. And he's one of the great captains of the world. So
yeah, clearly she likes to be a little bit abuse. I mean, her last boyfriend wasn't that great, so
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then Lyanna shows up, saying that try to talk them out of it. They won't listen. Talked about the wise ones. Lots of talk there, but I think this whole thing just ends up with Swan leaving, getting upset, and Nynaeve's just kind of trying to pick both their brains. Like, can I study you guys for stilling still? Like, guys, I know you guys are all fighting, but can I still try?
She's like, you know, you're gonna let me take this moment this afternoon, and I'm gonna learn more because the clue came. I think you're freaked out because I finally figured something out. So she is making some leeway. We don't know what exactly she found out, but she's like, clearly you are broken and there is something that needs to be fixed. And I found a little piece of it. Part of me thinks it just goes back to that whole situation with her putting the IDOM bracelet onto Swan's arm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The other part is like, did she discover something else that hasn't been discussed yet? And now we're kind of being led on here and teased a little bit because we know Jordan likes to do that. So
such a tease.
Such a tease.
He really is. He does such a good job too.
Yeah. So after all the stilling talk, I guess she leaves. Anything from all that before we get to her talking to Uno about think about leaving, running away, and all that fun stuff.
The idea of her not trying to get past her block.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. Yeah. So they get to that part where she meets, talks to Theodrin, who talks about her block and how she had a block once, was dealing with men and how she would get all googly eyes, and that was her big block, and they ended up breaking it by getting a woman dressed as a man to come in and flirt with her. And once they revealed it as a woman, she was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I don't."
No, she fainted. It wasn't like, oh, okay. It was a, oh, shit. Are you kidding me? So that was a little. I thought that was that made me giggle just a little bit. So, kind of taking a step back a little bit and looking at the whole. Maybe I'll leave. Maybe I'll go to Rand, and nobody will be upset at me for that. I'm not an Aes Sedai yet. We're not at the tower. They can't hold me to vows because I'm not a full Aes Sedai, and they're not the tower. All of the just negativity, and then the lack of belief in the people she's around. Like, to call them out, they're not at the tower. They're not in control.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, but these are the people that you're hoping will help Rand to conquer the world. Well, not conquer, save the world.
Yeah.
And you want to run from it. Nynaeve has definitely been knocked down a few notches for me because at the beginning of the series, she was a favorite character. Not my number one, but definitely in my top 3.
Okay. He's knocked her down a few notches at this point.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's not going to return. I feel like when she gets her powers and she gains some confidence, and do some amazing things. But the fact that she's willing to run from her friends for the sake of avoidance, that bothers me a little bit.
Yeah. So what do you think also about Theodrin? Obviously she hasn't been raised to the Shaw because they're not raising any Aes Sedai up, but they say she's kind of in between. Because they're not in the tower, they don't have the rod, so they to do the oaths, so they're not raising Aes Sedai here.
That's what I was gonna say. You can't really claim to be a full Aes Sedai if you're not fully committed.
Sure.
So they're doing the best job they can with what they have.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she's not fully committed. It's just they don't, like Alan said, they don't have the tools to do it properly. So they're
in my mind, that's fully commitment because then you're bound by magic.
That's fair.
To find better ways to lie, steal, and chill.
Yeah,
sure.
There was 151 in that cup, so I'm starting to feel it now.
That's 151's always a dangerous thing.
Dark and stormy.
Playing with fire there, man. Playing with fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually been drinking these lime margaritas.
Ooh.
They're not real margaritas. They're done by Devil's Backbone, which is
okay.
It used to be. It still is, I guess.
No free ads.
Yeah, they used to be brewed in Charlottesville, but they got bought by Anheuser-Busch. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're owned by InBev. I don't know if I consider them local anymore.
Sellouts. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually a really big thing because so I talked to a couple of local brewers about it. So Devil's Backbone is one of the largest microbrews in the state of
Yeah.
Virginia, and they actually founded the Virginia Microbrews like association, where like all the microbrews kind of club together to try to like promote their beers and things like that. And part of their bylaws was that none of the big guys, Miller or InBev or anything like that, was allowed to join this club. I mean, it was just like this one conglomerate of just you had to be microbrews. And when Devil's Backbone sold to InBev, like they showed up to the next meeting and all of them were like, "You're not in our club anymore. You can't be here." Like it's like, but I started the club. Like, yeah,
You made the rules too, buddy.
but you made the rules too. Like, you're not in it anymore.
If
Bye.
that's not the point of starting a microbrewery than to get bought out by a big company, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
Make your money, homie.
Yeah. They made theirs, that's for sure. So, but anyway,
she's cool.
Yeah. Theodrin's cool. Theodrin's cool. Theodrin. So yeah, and then after that, Nynaeve goes back to her room to lie down, and Maggette immediately burst in, complaining. And this is when they had to talk about male channeling. I jumped the gun on that a little bit, but still got ahead of myself. But we've already talked about all that, where wanted to learn about male channeling, and as they're practicing, that's when Elaine comes in. It's like, did you hear? They have an emissary from the White Towers here.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. And they're like, and they start speculating immediately. Like, do you think they'll go back to the White Tower? Do you think they're gonna,
hell yeah,
go on their knees back?
Here's my thing. Ooh,
you really shoehorned that one in, huh?
She did. I really do think that the women that are in charge will go back. They have now experienced some hardship. They've been in a dream where they almost died. They know that there's a power greater than theirs coming at them.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing they want is to be alone in this. And the idea of just trusting Rand, I think, would probably freak them out a lot.
Okay.
And we kind of need them to come back together.
And they had that nightmare situation literally last night.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And
so fresh on their minds.
We need them to come back together. That way we can have one of our Edmunds Fielder kind of take over the whole of the Aes Sedai. Right now, you're looking at a third here, a third there, and then a third just kind of floating out in the world.
Undecided.
Yeah. So, fun times. That's how we end this chapter, with them finding out the emissary's coming, and dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
The end. I really hate that. That was definitely one of those moments where I was like, I just want to keep listening. I really, really could skip ahead, and Alan wouldn't know.
Yeah. Well, the next chapter switches point of views to Paige and Niall, so give you that little tidbit. So it's not, we're not even there anymore. So you're not going to learn anything else.
When am I getting a Perrin episode? I need you to go to the spreadsheet on high and find out when I'm getting my Perrin meets his father-in-law chapter.
When you get the next Perrin, I mean, Perrin is in this book, but I'm not sure when it is. I think it might be a while.
I'll take the fact that he's in it for 100.
Let's see.
I'm skipping ahead, or I'm looking.
I'm looking. I know he's in this chapter or in this book. It's not for a while though. I can tell that much I still haven't hit a Perrin chapter yet. You got awkward silence now. Oh, there it is. So next Perrin chapter is chapter 45.
Oh, we'll be at Christmas almost. Well,
yeah,
we will be like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's somewhere near
So,
Thanksgiving. We don't end it till the end of the year, right?
I can tell you. No, it's in the fall when we finish this book. Chapter 45 will be in the fall. It will be October.
You did take
Nice.
into account like a whole honeymoon and everything for a wedding, right?
Yeah, I mean it's probably October, November. I mean, we're finishing the book probably at the end of
December,
just beginning of December, just December. Yeah.
y'all. Chanel's like, I so want to talk to you about the book. I'm like,
How far is she?
yeah,
Is she finished?
she's in the next book halfway through.
She's already finished this book.
That's on her to read ahead or for reading ahead.
I mean, like,
Sorry,
I need
girl.
to remind her that there's a whole Discord channel with a whole slew of people that would love to have a conversation with her.
Heck yeah, we would.
Mm-hmm.
But she is plowing through, and she's not reading every day. But when she does read, it's like,
she reads.
Get out of my way.
Yeah. Well, you got to get her on Mistborn and stuff like that. That way, have her take a break. Get her on.
I want to get ahead of her before I turn her on to anything else. I need to be like 2 books in because she's at work with the books playing in the background because there's nobody to bother her. All that type of good stuff.
That's what I do usually.
So anything that we missed from these chapters? I mean, the second chapter wasn't much. I mean, the first chapter had that big nightmare scene, which is fun. But other than that, not much else.
So what do you think Dimondre was doing?
I know what Demon should have
What was he looking for?
What do you think?
What do you think Demon was doing?
I've already told you. I think he's.
I haven't been drinking. You're not going to get me like that, buddy.
He's looking for a seal, like like one of those guys. Like
okay.
He's trying to pull one of those out.
He's going straight Shamu, trying to be a orca. Yeah. Taking that seal.
Something to do with being nabes.
Yeah, nameless. Good old Nubbles. Yeah. What's your favorite character?
I'm gonna give it. This is really cheesy. I'm gonna give it to Elaine this go around for valor and courage in the face of danger.
That and the
10 points to Gryffindor.
Yeah, I mean, because everybody else in there would have died.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And she could have stayed out and let it happen. Told you so.
Yeah. Now, if I were to give it to anybody else, it would probably have to be. Nobody's that deserving. Really.
Swan and Leanne for just putting up that front the entire time.
I agree with that. Like, I was thinking Swan just because she's clearly still controlling things from the background. She's got enough of a grip on everybody where she's making stuff happen. Mm-hmm. So, and I really hope she gets her powers back. Beyond hope. I don't want her to become Armelin again. I don't think that's in her future.
For Swan, yeah.
But I hope she at least gets the ability to do, if nothing else, some small stuff. Light a fire with a snap, or make a flower grow, or, enough to keep her alive.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, we have some pretty explosive chapters coming out. The next a big event happens in the next 2 chapters. So I'll read those chapter titles for you. Controversial, definitely. And the chapter titles are Plans and Assane in the Borderlands. And that second chapter is where something happens. That's
what in the Borderlands?
Assane. A saying. There's a saying.
A phrase.
A saying.
A saying.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do we have like a land chapter coming up?
I don't think it lands in those.
Oh. I mean, we said Borderlands, so I was kind of hoping. What happened to him, by the way? Like, I know he's supposed to be going to the Aes Sedai he's connected to now. He's filling the pool. Mm-hmm. But in my mind, I'm wondering whether or not Moraine tricked him, like Instead, she's sending him to one person.
It's
But
a long way for him to walk to wherever she has to go to Morel. And
Yeah,
Morel's
but-
there in Salidar.
Morel's
Right?
and Salidar.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not really connected to her. Maybe she actually connected him to
Someone else.
someone else.
All Lan knows at this point is I'm attached to this new person now. I gotta go.
Yeah.
So I go.
I think he's gonna end up with Nynaeve.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool. Sure.
We'll give him a happy ending.
Sure.
So what does a happy ending for Lan look like? Real quick.
It's very stone faced.
There's
No emotion.
a lot of pulling of a braid, a lot of
Oh, we're just going straight there, huh?
yeah.
Wait until you read A New Spring.
But no, I want to say he finds his lost family member, finds out there's still a few more people alive, and they start to rebuild.
The rebuilding of Malkir.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
I like that. I like that.
Sounds like a happy ending for sure.
It's
He
very
becomes
noble.
king, and he has his
Yeah.
queen at his side.
He pulls a full on Aragorn.
Yeah.
Return of the King. Yeah. Okay.
Why not? I mean,
Sure.
they definitely get influence, or Jordan definitely got some influence from,
Lord of the Rings.
and so why not?
Every fantasy
I
author
don't
has
see any
influence
Lord
from
of the
Tolkien.
Rings in the Wheel of Time at all.
Every fantasy authors are influenced by Lord of the Rings by Tolkien. It's
Yeah.
it's people always say like, oh, it's just Lord of the Rings. Every fantasy is influenced by Lord of
Yeah,
the Rings.
and Lord of the Rings was awesome. Give me
Yeah.
more, please. Thank
yeah.
you.
Agreed.
Exactly. So good times. So yeah, those are our next 2 chapters. Gonna be a lot of fun. Like I said, next week we're recording with Goldie Thoughts. So our Jen from Goldie Thoughts. And it's sure to be a good episode. All right. So anything else before I wrap up?
No.
All right. So
Until
How-
next year.
well, how it can be found?
Oh yeah,
is that-
there's a thing.
Yeah. We can find it at the Wheel Reads on all the fun places like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those places. We give giveaways everywhere. So if you haven't gone check it, there's giveaways running right now. Go like things to win stuff. So you can win things. We just did last weekend. We did a lot of Fortune. If you guys missed that, go check it out. It's still on our YouTube. You can still rewatch it. It was a ton of fun.
So much fun.
So much fun. We had the Way the Leaf on. Chris, you can go watch it. It's not spoilery.
Okay.
It was a ton of fun doing the Wad of Fortune. And we're going to continue to do those. I'm in the process of nailing down a contestants for next time that we do that, and that will be towards the end of July. But already have people have asked, so I'm waiting to hear back to get.
Let me know when you have a weekend that you need somebody else. If Chanel wants to participate.
Oh, yeah, we could have Chanel for one of those
Ooh,
portions. That'd be fun.
Chris and Chanel, Ian and I lost.
Well,
her name.
Ian's already been a contestant, so I'd find someone else.
It was.
Oh,
that
no,
was the game, anyways.
We'll have Ian in that. We'll do Chris and Chanel and someone else. How about that? We'll just
We can have 4.
We can have 4. Good point. We can 2 other people. Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll do so. But I've already asked someone for this for July month, maybe August month.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to do this once a month. But yeah, so more stuff coming on the YouTube. I mean, obviously we're doing these live on YouTube too, doing the game show. I'm trying to come up with more live stuff and trying to get away from just making standalone videos, just because one, I don't like editing them and doing them because it's a pain in my butt and it takes too much time and I don't like it. So if I don't like it, I'm not gonna do it. So that's what it comes down to. I did like one. I started and I was like, I don't like doing this. So that's why I stopped doing it beforehand. So I might try to find more live content to do. But if not, that's fine too. It might just be game show and podcast for the time being. If you guys have ideas for the YouTube channel, feel free to let me know. We have an ideas section on our Discord. So feel free to write ideas there. Just join our Discord. You can find links to that from thewheelreads.com, where you can find links to our merchandise. We sell everything from baby clothes to frosty mugs and shot glasses. So literally from infancy to getting drunk as an adult, hopefully. Because we do not condone underage drinking. Yeah, there you go.
Dope.
Boom. Yay!
Mine's in the kitchen. I'm sorry. So if people want
Bugs
more
unite.
is Sanderson,
I won.
oh wow, you got that one too.
I won this
Oh.
one.
Yeah.
I need to get that.
I win a lot. I
There you
gotta
go.
stop entering.
Yeah.
You know, we could do like some bi-weekly Sanderson if we need to. Let's put it to a vote and see if people actually listen.
If
We
you,
won't
yeah,
waste time.
if you want to do some live Sanderson stuff, we can start doing some. I'm all for Sanderson stuff.
I have been debating on starting a reread of Mistborn, so I'm in.
Yeah, and we don't think we don't do the whole chapter by chapter thing like we do here.
No,
Like,
we can break
yeah.
it down.
Well,
Like
we can just
They're
have fun with
broken.
it.
They're broken up into 5 parts. So
They are.
you can do.
we
Yeah,
can do every part. Yeah, I mean, I can make that happen.
we get fun. I'm almost done reading the Expanse series. I am on the last book. I have about 6 hours left of Leviathan Falls, the final book. So once I'm done with that, I was going to move to American Gods, but I could take a detour.
I loved American Gods. That was great.
I could take a detour back to Sanderson, especially it'd be nice to refresher and go back to the Mistborn since I guess next year the new Mistborn is coming out.
I think it's the end of like November
this year. Yeah,
it might be.
Yeah, because he puts out more of the other one next year. Darn, it already left my mind.
Stormlight. Yeah,
Stormlight
the next Stormlight's a ways away.
Yeah.
But he has
from the Cytonic from
Skyward.
Skyward, yeah. That comes out 2023.
But then he also has the secret novels coming out. There's like 4 of those coming out next year.
This man writes way too much. He must have like a lot of friends writing with him.
His schedule, he's posted his daily schedule. It's insane.
It's insane. He writes live. He does it on his YouTube. He has a YouTube station, Sanderson, and he'll write live. It's amazing to watch. He puts background music, like some little like chill techno in the background, and he'll write live on YouTube, which is
my mind
awesome.
can't hold that much. Like for real, it can't hold that much thought.
It's insane. That guy is just a machine. But yeah, that's Sanderson. So I might do American Gods and do Mistborn at the same time. I can do all of it. It's okay. But I do want to go back and reread the Mistborns because I did finish Era 2, at least caught up to where we are.
Yeah.
We're not Era 2's not over yet. There's Era 3 is already announced, right?
I don't know about officially, but I mean, there's always been like that. That was always in the plan.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, I thought he in an interview he talked about like
I don't really keep up with all that much news from him. I just kind of what I see, I pick up.
Yeah, because Era 3 this could have been just speculation from someone else because Era 1's of course medieval times. This is not giving away any plot. Era 2 is like Midwest, like industrial revolutionary times.
Yeah, I would say like Wild West
kind of times, and then because it's hundreds of years in the future, and then someone said Era 3 is going to be like space race. Yeah,
that's what I hear. That's what I heard.
That's what I've heard too. So
I liked how they with the magic system from the original Mistborn trilogy, how that factors in to Era 2 along with the new technologies.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have all the Mistborn magic with guns.
Yeah.
Chris, did you hear that? That's what you have to look forward to.
Don't they have cars?
What?
Don't they have cars too? Like cars and trains?
I think so. Yeah. But yeah, it's they have trains. Yeah, definitely trains. So it's like Midwest. Yeah, they're trains and guns with Mistborn magic. It's awesome. It's so much fun.
No, imagine Mistborn magic in the future.
Yeah. So it's really fun. So anyways,
we've deviated.
So back to check us out on our website. Like us on everywhere. Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe here. Like us, and that's all I got for this week. So Jake, Ian.
Until next time.
Peace.
Okay, bye.